Before I ask AI to help me save time, automate tasks, organize information, build systems, and create opportunity, I need to understand what AI could do, what AI should do, and what AI shouldn't do without my permission. By the end of this video, you'll understand why small businesses use AI, why AI needs boundaries, how to think of AI permissions, how to create your own AI governance rules, how I created my own Claude safety protocols. I have a problem. Actually, I have two problems. The first problem is I completely think that AI is going to change how small business operates. The second problem is I don't completely trust myself with it yet. Not because AI is dangerous, not because I think Claude is going to suddenly take over my computer. It's something simpler than that. I'm a beginner, and beginners click things. Beginners get excited. Beginners see someone connecting AI to their email, their calendar, their files, their software, and think, I want that. But before I give AI a bigger role in my business, I need to give it some rules. Prevent the unexpected or prepare to be even grumpier. Welcome to the Grumpy AI Guy. AI for the people that didn't grow up coding. Today, we're not building automation. We're not connecting apps. We're not trying to build the smartest AI agent. We are doing something more important. We are creating the foundation. We are creating the foundation. Before AI becomes my assistant, I need to figure out what responsibilities to give to it. Why does small business need AI? Let's start with the obvious question. Why should a small business owner even care about AI? For me, the answer is simple. Small business owners are overloaded. Too many emails, too many tasks, too many things that only the owner knows how to do, too little time. AI can become a business assistant. AI can help with research, finding information faster, writing, creating marketing ideas, documents, and emails. Organization, turning messy information into systems. Automation, helping remove repetitive work. The opportunity is huge, but opportunities without boundaries creates problems. The problem is not AI. Here's what I had to learn. The scary part isn't AI. The scary part is giving permissions without understanding what we are allowing it to do. For example, can it read my emails? Can it access my files? Can it send messages? Can it see customer information? Can it spend money? Those are not AI questions. Those are business questions. Creating my AI rules. So I decided to do something. Instead of just using Claude, I'm going to teach Claude how I want it to work. Rule 1, AI helps, humans decide. AI can analyze, AI can recommend, AI can prepare, but important business decisions stay with me. Before AI recommends a tool, automation, or connection, I need to understand what it does. Rule number 2, explain before acting. What does this do? Why do I need it? What information does it access? What could go wrong? How do I undo it? Rule 3, minimum access. If I hire a new employee, I don't grant them access to everything right away. AI should be treated no differently. Rule 4, protect business information. Information is a business's most important asset. Customer information, financial records, passwords, contracts, business plans, all of this information needs to be protected. Rule 5, ask before external actions. Creating a draft, great. Sending it, let me review first. Building the protocol with Claude. I am a small business owner learning how to use AI. Help me identify the biggest risks and mistakes that beginners make when using AI tools in their business. Focus on privacy, permissions, data security, automation mistakes, and over-trusting AI. Notice what I'm doing? I'm not asking Claude to solve everything. I'm asking Claude to work with me to solve things. Building the security protocol for Claude. So let's download Claude. If you go to your web browser, Google Claude.ai. If you haven't got a Claude account, it's going to ask you to set one up. Very simple process for the free version. It's just an email address and then a password to allow you to get in. So once you've done that, the moment that you open up, you should end up somewhere on a screen that looks like this. It's basically got the new projects, artifacts, and customize on the left-hand side. It's got kind of the welcoming for you for today. In the middle, and with a chat screen ready for you to start to type things in. Now we've got Claude open. Just, I guess, a couple of things that I've done some research on just to better understand how we can use this most appropriately. Today, we're going to try to set up Claude so that it protects anything that we do. If we attach things to it or we ask it to do things, it's going to protect our business so that we don't end up doing something unintentionally. Now, there are up here in the left-hand side, there's projects, artifacts, and customize. And so from my understanding is that in the free version, you get a number of projects. This is where you could set up, let's say you have a specific arm of your business. So you want the sales department. You want to have all your AI related questions and answers and things done with the sales department. You might set up a project called sales. And then you might have a project called administration. A project called deliverables. However you set up your business, that would ideally be where you would put it. The next thing, and we'll go into these things maybe in a little bit more detail as we start to figure out what we need to use specifically going forward when we start setting things up and attaching them or connecting them to our business. My understanding, so for artifacts is where you can place any kind of information from your business. So if you utilize certain templates or you've got Excel sheets, for instance, that you use to analyze things, you could drop them here into artifacts, and Claude would now know to look at those for direction on how to help you, with what you're asking for. So if you're asking for ROIs on a certain project that you're working on, it would know to look to your Excel spreadsheets to see, is there anything in there, or your Google Sheets, however you use it, is there anything in there that can help with analyzing and detailing and providing us the feedback that we're looking for. Customize is unique in several senses. So if you go into here, you've got a couple of things already preloaded in. You've got morning and skill creator that are preloaded into here, but this is where we would you would build skills, and skills are, I think, the connecting things that we use for Claude. So we would, if we wanted to go and look at our email and, summarize, let's say, our emails from yesterday and give us details on what we should be responding to, what's most important, then this is where we might start to create a skill that it does that. And it allows you in the chat to just give it a quick prompt, and Claude already knows this is what I'm supposed to do. Down here, we've got extensions. So extensions, I'm not sure what. So it says, so here's one installed, and you can read and send iMessages. So we've already got an extension that's installed. I don't know whether I did this. Let me move this. Let me move me out of the way for a second here. So we've got skills. We've got connectors. So let's go to connectors. So connectors are things like Gmail, Google Drive, Slack are here. I guess it's already recognizing that I have them, or maybe these are just the most utilized connectors. And this is where you would connect your Gmail to Claude and allow it to have access to your particular Gmail account. Plugins, I'm not 100% sure, but we'll figure that part out. So what we want to do is we're going to use Claude to help us create our security for Claude, for anything that we do in Claude. And we're going to use prompts. We're going to use prompts with Claude and ask for feedback. So again, some of the stuff that I've seen where people set out, hey, this is the way you really should interact with Claude. They basically, for the most part, the formula is you tell Claude what they are. So they're, a marketing genius, or they're a marketing director that deals with social media marketing, specifically with TikTok or whatever platform you choose to use. But you specifically give it a role, and then you ask it to do something. So create me a 2-week marketing plan for my new widget that we can put on TikTok with scripts and details on what we should be filming. And then the next thing that you have to do is, once you've identified sort of their trait, what they're good at, what they're supposed to be doing, and you've given them direction to do, you now ask them to ask you any questions that any questions that they might require an answer to do what you're asking them to do. So that kind of it. Those three things kind of get you to where you want to be. So we've got to figure out what potentially we're going to ask Claude to start with. So if we're gonna ask Claude to help us with this security protocol, I think one of the things, because Claude doesn't know who we are, doesn't know what our skill level is, doesn't know what kind of information and feedback we would understand, I think probably the first prompt that we should give Claude is to let him know that we're newbies. We were new to this AI thing. We're new to giving prompts. We're new to asking Claude to do things, and to try to make their responses and their questions as simple as possible, and that we will layer on in the future more technical information as we start to understand a little bit more about this. So let's just start with a simple one. You are a specialist in ensuring that any tools, connectors, or prompts. What was the other one? We said tools, connectors, and the customize. What were the other ones? Plugins. Okay, tools, connectors, and plugins. Plugins, comma, plugins, or prompts. You are a specialist ensuring that any tools, connectors, or plugins or prompts. Let's start over again. Let's start with what we are. We are new to Claude and AI technology. Please ensure that all your responses and directions and questions are geared to someone who is new to technology. Okay. Oops, let's make sure we spell everything correctly. I'm assuming it can kind of figure out if we don't, but directions. All right. Got it. I'll keep it simple and clear. Avoid any tech jargon, and I'll explain things step by step as you go. Good. To help you best, it's be great to know, are you using Claude through a website like Claude AI or an app on your phone? Is there something specific you're hoping to do with Claude right now, like writing, answering questions, or something else? Feel free just to ask anything, and I'll walk you through in plain language. So again, I'm going to move myself over here. That way, I'm not in the, you're not being blocked from what I'm writing in here. So there are, I think we talked, or maybe we didn't, there are two different ways that we can utilize Claude. Claude through a web browser, and Claude, the app itself, I think they call it Claude Desktop, which sits on your computer. We've downloaded Desktop. I think I asked you guys to download Desktop because Claude that you use through your website or through a web browser can't access your computer and I think it's not able to do all the functionality that Claude Desktop is. So we want to, I think, start with the most functional and work our way through that first. And I think the Claude web browser mimics what's here in terms of any chats and things like that, as long as you're logged in through the same profile. Any chats, all that stuff will show up there, and you can continue to ask questions. But if you ask it to do something that it can only do through desktop, you need to be in desktop for it to do that. So we are primarily using Claude Desktop to set up Claude for our business. That's a great choice. Think of it like a smart assistant program that lives on your computer, similar to how you might have Microsoft Word or email open, except this one you can talk to. Since you're setting it up for a business, I want to make sure I point you in the right direction. A couple of quick questions. Go ahead with your questions. Let's do this. So it's telling us already that it needs to ask us questions. So let's try and contain those questions, and maybe give it some guardrails so that it knows, okay, we want it to be asking us questions as much as it needs to. Feel free, and I understand that you're writing Claude not in code, right? This is something we don't know anything about, so we're writing it in the perspective of just regular conversation. So feel free to ask any questions that you feel will help us understand AI better, will focus our process more efficiently, and will offer us insight into things we don't know that are relevant to what we are asking. So in other words, like, just because we don't know that we should be asking a certain question, if you know that that's a question, we're not getting to that question, but we're just continuing to try and move down the road and we haven't thought of that, ask us back so that we can understand what it is that we don't know and what we should be putting in. I think that's fair. Okay, what kind of business is this for? I think we want, for now, to make it generic, because everyone's business has very unique aspects to it. My real estate business, I mean, if you're not a property manager, if you don't buy apartment buildings, you might not have any need for some of the things that I would need. And I might not have any needs if you're a retailer selling, shampoo and specializing in certain tools and machinery. I probably don't need to have some of the same tools and interactions with Claude that you might need. So let's see if we can make it a little bit generic, and maybe later on we can jump back into more specifics. Can we keep this generic to small businesses with less than, and I don't know what's small to you, but this is a big business to me, but it might be really small to you, but let's say less than 100 employees. Like, that's big, but maybe you look and go, wow, that's just a tiny subset of the businesses that I own or run. But anyways, let's start with that. Um, so it's thinking. It seems like it's thinking. All right. So I'll keep everything broad enough to apply to most small businesses. Let me lay out the basics so you have a solid foundation. Think of Claude like a very capable assistant. You can chat in plain English. You don't need to know any code or computer language, which is great. You just type what you want the way you'd explain it to a new employee. Here's how small businesses commonly use it in the three broad buckets: writing and communication, drafting emails, replying to customers, writing job postings, social media posts, policies, internal memos; understanding information, summarizing long documents or contracts, answering questions about files you upload, like spreadsheets, PDFs, okay, and explaining things, something confusing in plain language. Organizing and planning, so creating checklists, schedules, simple budgets, or helping think through a business decision. A few basics that will help as we go. Chat versus project. Oh, okay, so they're starting to give us some information about how this works. In Claude Desktop, a chat is just one conversation. A project is a folder where you can keep related chats and files together. Handy if say you want all your customer service conversations and documents in one place. I mentioned that earlier, right? Uploading files, you can drag documents like Word files, PDF spreadsheets into the chat, and Claude can read and work with them. Nothing you do here is permanent or risky to experiment with. You can always start a new chat if one goes off track. Okay, to help me guide you well from here, what's the very first task you'd like to try with Claude? For example, drafting an email, organizing a document, or something else entirely. So we're here to talk a bit about or set up a security protocol, kind of some rules that Claude will use and go through every time we try to do something, whether it's customizing Claude, right, by connecting or by building a tool, or even using a tool that's we've built. Or I see a lot of places that are online that you can copy and paste the tool, essentially the language for the tool, into your tool creator, and it will create you that tool based on the information from that. So we want to make sure that, if we're not diligent and we're not technical, that we don't grab something from a website or a newsletter or someone else and paste it into a tool creator or into a customization of any kind or to a chat, and find out that it's got something in there that we don't want it to have access to our computer or to certain files or to certain areas or to our financials or things like that. And we're just not aware, and it has that in there, even like a backdoor, let's say, where somebody can now access our computer without us knowing. So we want some, again, guardrails where Claude will go through and check everything that we're putting in to confirm with us whether it's appropriate. So how do we draft that? Okay, so let's start with something really simple. We want to set up a protocol that you will follow every time we try to connect connectors. Plugins was another thing. What was the other thing that they said we could do here? Customize. Oh my God, I'm in the way again. Move me. Connectors, skills, plugins. Okay, connectors, skills, plugins. Connectors, plugins, or skills. Let's go, or skills that are already there. So let's plugins, skills, or create any skills. We want to set up a protocol that you'll follow every time we try to connect connectors, plugins, skills, or create any skills that will protect our computer files, financial information. Good Lord, you guys are going to have to get used to me not being able to spell properly. Financial information or sensitive business records, or we want to set up a protocol that you will follow every time we try to connect connectors, plug in skills, or create skills that will protect our computer files. Well, that doesn't sound very good. Okay, let's reboot this and we'll start over again. We want to create a set of rules that you will follow every time we try to connect connectors, plugins, create new skills. Let's go, or create new skills. You will review and you will review our actions, and you will review any actions or prompts that we use to ensure that they do not allow for access to our files, financials, or sensitive information without our authorization. Since we are new to AI, we want to prevent ourselves from connecting to, not really even connecting, we want to prevent ourselves from, since we are new to AI, we want to prevent ourselves from, what do we want to prevent? We want to prevent ourselves from allowing anyone access to our sensitive materials like passwords, files, and financial. Passwords, files, banking logins, etc., etc. Okay. Since we are new to AI, we want to prevent ourselves from allowing anyone or any skill / plugin / connector access to our sensitive materials like passwords, files, banking, logins, etc. on our computer or our computer system for those that have more computers than just one. You are our protection against phishing. I'm not sure how they spell that. Phishing, malware, prompts that expose access to our business. Okay, so here, took a little while, but I think this could be good. We want to create a set of rules that you will follow every time we try to connect connectors, plugins, or create new skills. You will review any actions or prompts that we use to ensure that they do not allow for access to our files, financials, or sensitive information without our authorization. Since we are new to AI, we want to prevent ourselves from allowing anyone or any skill, plugin, connector access to our sensitive material like passwords, files, banking logins, etc. on our computer or our computer system. You are our protection against phishing, malware, prompts that expose access to our business. Okay. Well, let's just see what it do. I think we're getting too many instructions at once. Let's see what it does. Reading memory. Task in this chat. Take that role seriously. It's got a sense of humor. Here's the ground rules I'll follow from now on in plain terms. Whenever you ask me to connect a connector, install a plugin, or set up a new skill, I will pause and check it first before doing anything. I won't just go ahead and turn it on. Here's what that check will look like. What does it want access to? I'll explain in plain English what kind of information or systems the tool is asking to touch. For example, this wants to read your emails and this wants to see files on your computer. Is that access reasonable? For what it does, I'll flag anything that seems like overreach. For example, a simple calculator tool asking for access to your banking login would be a big red flag, okay? I will never connect anything to passwords, banking logins, or financial accounts on your behalf without you explicitly telling me to proceed. And even then, I'll walk you through exactly what you're allowing. Perfect. I'll explain the risks in everyday language, not just this could expose sensitive data, but something like if you turn this on, this program could read the files and store it in your documents folder. You always get the final say. I'll never assume permission. I'll ask and wait for your clear yes, go ahead. One honest limit, I want a flag so that you're not caught off guard. I'm a helpful reviewer, not a replacement for antivirus software or IT security. Okay, for sure. I'm very good at reading and explaining what a prompt plugin connector says it will do and catching obvious red flags or shady instructions. But I can't scan your computer for existing malware, and truly well-disguised malicious tools could potentially fool me too. Think of me as a knowledgeable second pair of eyes, not a security guarantee. Would you like me to also suggest a simple habit, like always sharing the connector plugin's website or source with me before you install it, so I can look up and check its reputation? Yes, that would be very helpful. Yeah, because we don't know. It may look like it's from a great site, or maybe even a recommendation, and we're not sure, and we don't know. So having it look would be great. Great. Here's how the habit will work going forward. Before you install or connect anything new, just share the name or in website or wherever you found it with me first. For example, hey Claude, I found this plugin called XYZ at this website. Can you check it out? When you do that, I'll look at things like who made it. Is it from a known reputable company or an unknown individual anonymous source? What it claims to do versus what access it's asking for. Do those match up sensibly? Any red flags? Reviews mentioning problems, vague or evasive descriptions, requests for unusual permissions. Great. How long has it been around? Brand new, and reviewed tools carry more risk than established ones. I'll give you a plain language summary, something like, this looks like a well-known tool used by a lot of small businesses for scheduling. It only needs access to your calendar, which matches what it says it does. Seems reasonably safe, but as always, only connect things you actually plan to use. So to sum up your new standing rule with me, before connecting anything, share it with me, and I'll check it out and explain the risks in plain English, and nothing gets connected until you say go ahead. Is there any specific? Okay, so we're not going to do any kind of connection right now. So I think what we want is we want the prompt language so that we can save it in a file. So every time we go through this, or every time we open up a new project or a new chat, first thing we can do is for us, we would have to remember to bring that in to the chat so it knows anytime we're doing anything within that chat or that project, it's gonna follow that protocol. Okay, so let me just go back and make sure I'm using the right. Okay. Can you prepare a prompt for us to use every time we open new chats? I guess it's every time we open new chats / projects, or even use new AIs. Can you prepare a prompt for us to use that will instruct? Okay, so can you prepare a prompt for us? Let me put here. Can you prepare a prompt for us that will set up this set of instructions every time every time is 2 words. Every time we open new chats, projects, or even use new AIs. Perfect. Okay. Here's a ready-to-use prompt. Just copy and paste this at the start of new chats, new projects, or even into different AI tools. It sets up the same protective ground rules we just established. Beautiful. Okay, a couple of practical notes. In Claude specifically, if you save this in a project, a folder for related chats, you can often set it as a standing instruction, so it applies automatically to every chat inside the project. I'm happy to walk you through that when you're ready. With other AI tools, the exact wording one uses for connectors or skills might differ, but pasting this in should still get the idea across since it's written in plain language. Worth noting, every AI has different actual capabilities. Some can't review external plugins at all, even if asked. So this prompt sets the intention, but it's still worth double checking what each specific tool can actually do. Want me to also make a short version of this so you could keep it somewhere handy, like a one-line reminder you paste at the top of a new chat. Well, I think the goal is that we want to try to make this so that it's automatic, that maybe we don't have to do this every time. I wonder if there's a way that we could set this up so that it applies regardless of what project or chat. So let's just see. Is there a way to apply this set of instructions globally in Claude? In other words, is there a way to save this so we don't have to don't have to copy and paste it every time Claude automatically has this protocol, this set of instructions that it follows always. Okay, let's see what it says. I'm going to get rid of this because we're not upgrading. Okay. Yes, there's a feature made exactly for this called Profile Preferences, sometimes called Instructions for Claude. Anything you save there loads automatically into every new chat, so you never have to paste it again. These preferences are account-wide settings that help Claude understand your general preferences that Claude should consider in responses, and any preferences you add are applied to all of your conversations with Claude. Here's how to set it up in Claude Desktop, step by step. All right. Click on your name, initials in the lower left corner. Ooh, I'm going to have to move me again. Move me to the top. Okay. So click on my name, Grumpy AI Guy. All right. Maybe double click. Nope. Click. There we go. Okay. Click Settings. Settings. Now what? Okay, I guess we're going to have to memorize this. Okay, click Settings. Look for the section field titled something like What Preferences Should Claude Consider? Paste in the security rules prompt I gave you earlier. Click Save. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to copy. Oh, there we go. We've got an automatic copy button. Beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to go back down to here. Oh, where are we here? Here we go. So we're going to go click on this, settings, and we're looking for preferences or instructions. There's preferences. Okay, appearance, Anthropic, chat font, motion, voice, language, okay, style, buttery. Okay, so not preference, but they said instructions for Claude. So Claude will keep these in mind across chats, co-work, with Anthropic guidelines. Learn more. Okay, I'm going to assume that this is the place to save it. Okay, we ready? Save changes. Saved. Beautiful. Let's get out of here. Okay, a couple of important things to know. This applies per Claude account across your whole account. So if multiple people on your team have separate logins, each person would need to add this to their own settings. Okay, so as a business guy, you would need to obviously copy and paste and give some direction to your employees to add this to Claude before they start working with it, especially if they're working with sensitive material. I mean, if they're just asking it questions, similar to Google AI, then probably not as necessary. But if they're going to be building projects or building AI agents and helping to do and are going to do the things that we're going to try to get to, where we will make our business a lot easier on us, save ourselves a bunch of time, help us with some of the more day-to-day repetitive things, then they're going to need this as their safety instructions. And obviously, we can always add on to this if we find that it's not doing everything we need it to do, or we've become more technical and require it to perhaps give us more technical information. So maybe your IT guys, they might look at this and go, that's too simplified for us, and may want to add on more technical information or request that it not be as simplified. But for us that are new, that don't really understand it or really never dealt with this stuff before, I think we're in the right spot. So if you create a project, a folder for related chats, you can also add project-specific instructions on top of this, but you don't need to for this particular rule, since profile preference already covers everyday chat automatically. This won't carry over to other AI tools. So obviously, if you're using ChatGPT or Gemini or any, I don't know, or Deep Blue, and seems to be a billion of these things out now. You could add in the same codes, but I did recall it saying sometimes they don't use the same language, like plugins, connectors, things like that. So you may have to figure out what it is that they're doing and just replace those item names in your instructions. So I think we'll wind it up there. This has been a great start. I think we've now not only we've told Claude that we're not very we're new to this, but we've also given it a whole set of instructions and rules that it needs to follow to hopefully protect us from doing something that we may regret, may have unintended consequences, or cause us to be grumpier than normal. Before I go, I've got a question for the business owners watching. Are you trying to find more time in your day? Are you looking to improve efficiencies, reduce repetitive work, or figure out how AI might fit into your business? Maybe you've got employees already experimenting with AI and trying to understand what they're doing, what opportunities exist, and what risks you should be paying attention to. If that's you, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me what type of business you run, what challenges you're trying to solve, what task takes up too much of your time, and what you'd like AI to help you with. I'm learning this technology right alongside you, and your questions help shape future videos. If enough people are facing the same challenges, I'll build a video around it and work through the solutions step by step here on this channel, because that's what this journey is all about. Not AI theory, not flashy videos. Real business problems solved by real people learning AI together. And remember, you don't have to be a computer genius to build something amazing with AI. You just have to be willing to stay grumpy long enough to figure it out. If today's video saved you time, taught you something, or helped you avoid mistakes that I've made, hit subscribe and join me on this journey. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and stay grumpy.